Disrespect is rarely just a careless word. Most of the time it is a test, a quiet measurement of how much pressure you will tolerate, how quickly you will react, and how easily your emotions can be controlled. Weak men hear an insult and immediately defend themselves. Powerful men hear the same insult and study the person who delivered it. They ask one question: what is this person trying to discover about me? Understand this now. People do not continue disrespecting those who make disrespect expensive. They continue disrespecting those who reward it with attention, arguments, explanations, and emotional reactions. Every uncontrolled response teaches the offender where your weakness lives. Your anger reveals the button. Your defensiveness confirms the wound. Your need to prove yourself exposes your dependence on their opinion. Machiavelli understood that power begins with perception. The moment someone believes you can be provoked, they believe you can be managed. That belief is more dangerous than the insult itself. So stop reacting to disrespect as though it is merely offensive. Treat it as intelligence. It reveals who envies you, who doubts you, who wants your position, and who believes your boundaries are negotiable. Watch the eyes, watch who smiles, watch who remains silent. Disrespect often has an audience because the true goal is not to hurt you privately, it is to lower your rank publicly. Your task is not to win the argument. Your task is to prevent the new hierarchy from becoming accepted. Do not explode. Do not plead. Do not rush. Freeze the moment inside your mind. Observe the intention. Measure the threat. Remember the witnesses. Then decide whether the offender deserves correction, distance, humiliation, or complete removal. Powerful people never waste disrespect. They convert it into information, strategy, future control, before making their decisive move. Your first reaction decides your rank. Your first reaction decides your rank. The moment disrespect lands, every eye searches your face for evidence. They want to know whether you are stable or shaken, disciplined or desperate, dangerous or easy to manipulate. Most men lose power in the first 3 seconds. Their jaw tightens, their voice rises, their words multiply. They begin explaining themselves to people who never deserved an explanation. That is how status collapses, not because of the insult, but because of the visible surrender to emotion. A powerful man does not give his opponent immediate access to his nervous system. He creates distance between the wound and the response. He breathes once. He lowers his voice. He slows the room. This is not weakness. It is command. The slower you become, the more uncertain they become. When they cannot predict your reaction, they cannot control the encounter. Machiavellian power is not loud. It is measured. You must learn to make your face unreadable, your posture steady, and your words scarce. Never rush to prove that you are not weak. The need to prove strength is often the clearest confession of insecurity. Instead, let silence examine the offender. Hold eye contact without theatrical aggression. Ask a short question if needed. Was that meant for me? Then stop. Force them to repeat, explain, or retreat. Now the pressure belongs to them. Your composure becomes the courtroom, and their words become the evidence. Remember this: anger may feel powerful, but uncontrolled anger is obedience. Someone touches the trigger, and you fire on command. That is not dominance. That is programming. Your first duty is to break that pattern. Control the body, control the voice, control the pace. Then, and only then, decide the consequence. Because whoever controls the first reaction controls the meaning of everything that follows. Study the intention behind the insult. Never answer disrespect before you understand its purpose. An insult can be careless, but repeated disrespect is usually strategic. It may be designed to provoke you, embarrass you, weaken your authority, entertain an audience, or test whether your boundaries exist. Powerful people do not treat every offense the same because equal reactions waste power. They study the motive. Ask yourself who spoke, where they spoke, who was watching, and what they hoped would happen next. A private insult seeks emotional access. A public insult seeks advantage. A joke repeated at your expense is a disguised attempt to lower your rank without accepting responsibility. The offender wants the reward of humiliation and the protection of humor. Do not give them either. Watch patterns, not excuses. Someone who disrespects you once may be careless. Someone who does it after seeing your discomfort is collecting evidence about your weakness. Machiavelli would never confuse words with intention. He would examine timing, benefit, and consequence. Who gains if you lose composure? Who grows larger if you appear smaller? Who is trying to make the room accept a new hierarchy? These questions protect you from two failures: overreacting to fools and underreacting to enemies. Not every insult deserves war. Some deserve indifference. Some deserve one clean correction. Others reveal a threat that must be removed. Your power lies in classification, separate ignorance from hostility, insecurity from ambition, and clumsiness from calculated contempt. Then choose the response that serves your position, not your wounded pride. Never let pain select the punishment. Pain is impulsive. Strategy is precise. When you understand why the disrespect happened, you stop fighting the surface and begin controlling the source. That is when the offender realizes the mistake was not speaking against you. The mistake was revealing their intention before you revealed yours. Silence creates psychological pressure. Silence is not emptiness. In disciplined hands, it is pressure. Most people expect disrespect to produce noise. They expect denial, anger, pleading, or an attempt to recover status. When you refuse to give them that reaction, you remove the reward they were seeking. Now they are left alone with what they said. The room becomes heavier. Their confidence begins to weaken because silence forces them to hear themselves. This is why powerful people do not rush to fill uncomfortable space. They understand that whoever speaks first often reveals the most. Hold the pause. Let your expression remain calm. Let your eyes stay steady. Do not smirk. Do not perform. Controlled silence is strongest when it feels natural, not theatrical. The offender will often explain, laugh nervously, change the subject, or claim it was only a joke. That retreat is evidence. Do not rescue them from it. Make them carry the weight of their own words. Machiavelli understood that uncertainty creates fear because the mind punishes itself with possibilities. When people cannot read your next move, they imagine consequences greater than your announcement. This is psychological leverage. Your silence tells them without saying anything that you are not emotionally wounded. You are evaluating. It suggests that the matter is not forgotten, only unfinished. But silence must serve strategy. If you remain quiet because you are afraid, people sense surrender. If you remain quiet because you are choosing timing, they sense danger. The difference lives in your posture, your eye contact, and what you do afterward. Silence without consequence becomes permission. Silence followed by precise action becomes reputation. Learn to pause before you answer. Learn to leave before you argue. Learn to let uncertainty work for you. The loud man demands respect. The silent man makes others wonder what disrespect will cost. Set boundaries without begging for respect. Respect is never secured by begging for it. The moment you explain your worth to someone committed to ignoring it, you place your value in their hands. Powerful people do not negotiate their dignity. They define the line, state the consequence, and remain prepared to enforce it. A boundary is not an emotional speech. It is a clear condition attached to action. Say less. Do not speak to me that way. Then stop. No biography, no argument, no desperate attempt to make the offender understand your pain. Understanding is optional. Compliance is not. The more words you use, the more openings you create for debate, distortion, and mockery. Cold clarity closes those openings. Your tone must be calm because calmness signals that the boundary existed before the conflict began. You are not inventing it from anger. You are revealing a rule. Machiavelli understood that authority depends on certainty. If your limits change according to mood, people will test them repeatedly. If the consequence never arrives, your warning becomes entertainment. Therefore, never announce a boundary you are unwilling to defend. Remove access, end the conversation, exclude them from the opportunity, withdraw cooperation, change the terms. Whatever you choose, make it proportionate, immediate, and controlled. Do not punish to satisfy emotion, act to educate behavior. The purpose of a boundary is not to dominate everyone around you. It is to show that proximity to you has conditions. Those who respect the conditions retain access. Those who violate them lose something. This is how powerful people train the world without shouting. They become predictable in principle and unpredictable in method. Everyone knows disrespect will cost them, but no one knows exactly how. That uncertainty protects your position. Speak once. Enforce once. After that, your reputation speaks before you enter the room every time. Never threaten, deliver consequences. The weak man threatens because he needs the other person to fear what he might do. The powerful man acts because he has already decided what will happen. Threats are noisy promises. Consequences are silent facts. When you announce revenge, you reveal anger, timing, and intention. You give the offender time to prepare, gather allies, distort the story, and turn your reaction against you. Machiavelli would call this foolish generosity. Never give an enemy a map of your response. Instead, make one calm statement, then change reality. End the meeting, remove the invitation, withdraw your support. Deny access to information, opportunity, attention, or influence. Let the loss explain what your words never needed to. A real consequence should be proportionate, believable, and connected to the violation. If someone abuses your trust, reduce their access. If someone humiliates you publicly, correct the record publicly without becoming theatrical. If someone repeatedly crosses the line, remove them from your circle completely. Do not confuse cruelty with strength. Excessive punishment makes you look unstable and creates sympathy for the offender. Precision is more frightening. It shows that you are not consumed by rage. You are governed by principle. The lesson must be clear. Disrespect changes the relationship. Once you establish that pattern, people begin controlling themselves around you. They know your silence is not surrender and your calmness is not softness. They know you do not make empty declarations. This is how reputation becomes armor. Speak fewer warnings. Deliver cleaner outcomes. Never threaten what you cannot enforce, and never enforce more than the situation requires. The goal is not to prove that you are dangerous. The goal is to make disrespect a bad decision. When consequences become certain, your voice no longer needs volume. Your presence becomes the warning before anyone tests you again. Remove access and starve their power. Access is power. The closer people stand to you, the more opportunities they have to study your habits, exploit your generosity, and test your limits. This is why powerful people do not give permanent access to those who repeatedly show contempt. They withdraw it, quietly, completely, without drama. Attention is access. Information is access. Time, loyalty, introductions, opportunities, emotional openness, and physical presence are all forms of access. When someone disrespects you and still receives these privileges, you teach them that your boundaries are decorative. They learn that nothing changes. So change everything they were taking for granted. Stop explaining yourself. Stop sharing plans. Stop inviting them into rooms they did not earn. Let distance reveal the value of what they lost. Machiavelli understood that deprivation often teaches faster than confrontation. People rarely appreciate access while it is guaranteed. They understand its value when the door closes, but withdrawal must be controlled. Do not disappear to provoke panic. Do not use silence as childish punishment. Remove access because the relationship no longer qualifies for it. That distinction protects your dignity. You are not begging them to chase you. You are reorganizing your world without them. The most effective distance is calm, consistent, and final enough to be believed. Once access is reduced, do not restore it because they offer temporary charm. Watch patterns. Respect must become consistent before privilege returns. Powerful people do not keep proving their value to those committed to diminishing it. They let absence perform the demonstration. When your attention is scarce, your presence gains weight. When your standards are firm, your circle becomes disciplined. And when disrespect reliably leads to distance, people learn that losing you is the consequence they should have feared most. Your door does not slam. It closes, locks, and never explains itself. Control the social battlefield. Reputation is a battlefield long before anyone raises their voice. Disrespect becomes dangerous when it is witnessed, repeated, and accepted as truth. Powerful people understand that public perception can harden into social permission. If one person humiliates you without consequence, others may begin treating your silence as weakness. This does not mean you must answer every insult publicly. It means you must control the meaning of the event. First, never let the offender define the story. Correct falsehoods with precision. State facts once. Refuse emotional debate. Then let your conduct reinforce your version. Calm consistency defeats desperate accusation. Second, know the difference between an audience and a mob. An audience observes. A mob feeds on reaction. Give the first clarity, give the second nothing. Machiavelli understood that power depends not only on what happens, but on what people believe happened. Therefore, protect your image without becoming obsessed with approval. Build alliances before conflict arrives. Treat reliable people well. Keep your word. Become known for discipline, competence, and controlled consequence. Then one insult cannot erase your standing because your reputation has witnesses of its own. Never recruit sympathy through weakness. Never complain to everyone. Select who needs the truth and who deserves silence. Social control comes from strategic visibility. Sometimes the strongest move is a private correction followed by public indifference. Sometimes it is a brief public boundary that ends the performance immediately. Choose based on the threat to your position, not the pressure of the moment. Your goal is not to win applause. Your goal is to prevent disrespect from becoming accepted reality. When your reputation is stronger than the rumor, the battlefield turns against the person who attacked you. They appear reckless, bitter, and small, while your restraint makes observers question the motive behind their attack from then onward. Punish with precision, not rage. Rage wants immediate revenge. Power wants the correct result. This is where most men destroy themselves. They confuse intensity with strength and retaliation with control. They strike too quickly, speak too much, and create consequences for themselves instead of the offender. Machiavelli's method is colder. First, define the objective. Do you want the behavior corrected, the threat neutralized, the relationship ended, or the audience warned? Until you know the objective, do nothing. Second, identify the pressure point. Every person values something: access, status, credibility, comfort, influence, opportunity, or your cooperation. Precision means touching only what is necessary to stop the behavior. No chaos, no reckless cruelty, no illegal act that turns your enemy into a victim and you into the fool. Third, choose timing. Immediate correction is useful when delay looks like fear. Delayed action is stronger when patience allows facts, allies, and leverage to gather. Never move simply because emotion demands movement. Let strategy choose the hour. Fourth, make the consequence clean. Document the violation, state the boundary, withdraw the privilege, escalate through lawful channels when required. Then stop talking. The more you explain the punishment, the more it resembles wounded pride. Powerful people do not chase dramatic satisfaction. They create lasting deterrence. The offender should understand exactly which decision caused the loss. while observers understand that your standards are real. But remember, punishment without restraint creates rebellion. Your response must be firm enough to discourage repetition and controlled enough to preserve legitimacy. This is the ruthless balance. You do not destroy disrespect by becoming disrespectful. You destroy it by proving that every deliberate violation produces a measured, unavoidable cost. Rage burns quickly and exposes you. Precision remains cold, protects your position, and teaches the lesson long after the confrontation ends. That is how disciplined men become truly untouchable. Become too powerful to disrespect. You do not become untouchable by winning every confrontation. You become untouchable by becoming too disciplined to be dragged into one on another person's terms. That is the final lesson. Disrespect survives where reactions are cheap, boundaries are weak, and consequences are uncertain. Destroy those conditions, and the behavior begins to die. Control your face before you control the room. Study intention before choosing action. Use silence to expose motives. State boundaries without pleading. Deliver consequences without threats. Remove access without drama. Protect your reputation without chasing approval. Punish with precision, never rage. This is not about becoming cruel. It is about becoming impossible to manipulate. The world watches what you tolerate. Every exception becomes permission. Every empty warning becomes an invitation. So let your standards become visible through consistency. Be calm enough to think, cold enough to wait, and strong enough to walk away from people who mistake your patience for weakness. Machiavelli understood that power is preserved by discipline more than display. Anyone can shout. Anyone can threaten. Anyone can lose control. Few can remain still while deciding exactly what happens next. Become one of the few. Let people feel that your attention is earned. Your trust is protected, and your presence is never guaranteed. Then disrespect stops being a weapon against you. It becomes a mistake that reveals the person foolish enough to attempt it. From this moment forward, do not ask others to recognize your value. Make your decisions prove it. Comment, "My silence carries consequences." If you are ready to live by this code, like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your transformation begins when your emotions stop ruling you and your standards start ruling your world. Stand firm, move carefully, and make every deliberate act of contempt permanently change the relationship.